He makes art critics cringe, but Thomas Kincaid, whose idyllic paintings of storybook cottages and pastoral landscapes glow as if lit from within, some of them literally are, with tiny LEDs embedded in the canvas, has arguably given more pleasure to the masses than any artist since Norman Rockwell. In theory, one could argue that Walt Disney, Charles Schulz, or Margaret Big Eyes Keane is more deserving of such an extravagant claim, and yet, of those iconic individuals, only Kincaid's work was recently estimated to be hanging in as many as 1 in 20 American homes. In the end, I suppose it all comes down to what you consider art. Do Black Velvet Elvis paintings count? How about dogs playing poker, or silkscreen renderings of Campbell's soup cans? That's where the critics enter the picture once again, as few take Kincaid's kitsch creations, which have been mass-produced as coffee mugs, collectible plates, and dust catchers of all kinds, seriously enough to qualify them as art. But as the French Impressionists might attest, revolving in their graves, being featured on calendars doesn't necessarily demote genuine masterpieces to the relatively inconsequential status of visual culture. Either that's just one of the many fascinating threads director Miranda Youssef explores in her insightful and highly entertaining documentary, Art for Everybody, which delves into the darker side of the self-anointed painter of light. Working closely with Kincaid's widow, Nanette, and their 4 kids, with no mention of the girlfriend he was seeing when he died of an overdose of Valium and alcohol in 2012, Youssef delves into the personal archives and unresolved demons of the popular phenomenon. Youssef's far from hagiographic portrait opens with audio recordings by a tortured teenage Thomas, who doesn't hesitate to claim, "I do frankly consider myself a genius," and that he was, though more in terms of self-promotion and positioning his wholesome work to a Christian audience than anything he added to the medium itself. But what would this tortured young artist, whose early sketches resemble something by R. Crumb or the In the Court of the Crimson King album cover, think of the success and faith he ultimately found? Later in the film, Kincaid can be heard saying, "Above all, I want to avoid painting silly and sweet pictures, charming pictures, happy pictures. I want to paint the truth, and the truth of this world is pain." So how did he wind up rendering the world in such a dishonest way in canvas after canvas, painting only romanticized environments, peaceful-looking gardens and cabins, the nation's capital draped in American flags, or San Francisco populated exclusively by heterosexual white crowds? The doc generously overlooks scads of second-rate dross, featuring garish NASCAR rallies and tacky Disney tie-ins. Early on, Youssef dangles a tantalizing hook, what the family refers to as the vault, where hundreds of original paintings are stored, including many early works that show a very different side of the artist, strategically withholding its contents until nearly an hour into the film. First, she must establish Kincaid's multi-million-dollar empire, which he built with business partner Ken Roche from a modest print operation in his Northern California hometown of Placerville. From the beginning, Kincaid saw a philosophical and financial benefit in making his work widely available via limited editions, a populist decision that made him the poster boy for what Walter Benjamin called the work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction, and arguably that most successful of hacks, who put commercial gain ahead of artistic achievement, though one could say the same of Jeff Koons. Operating out of strategically lit mall stores that did for Stonebridges what Abercrombie and Fitch did for Men's Abs, Kincaid's dealers hired artisans, not artists, to hand-embellish canvas reproductions with paint, enhancing the highlights and thereby making each one unique. Like some kind of born-again Bob Ross, he appeared on the QVC shopping network to hawk his wares and participated in hours of corny self-promotional featurettes with titles like The Art of Adventure and A Lifetime of Light. Whether or not Kincaid's work is to your particular taste, the appeal is clear. Claiming spiritual inspiration, he sanitized the world of ugliness and sin, offering up cozy, anodyne environments, a sentimental virtual realm that evoked evangelical notions of heaven as vividly as Giotto's saint-filled skies had some 7 centuries earlier. But even Kincaid's most fervent collectors will chuckle at bitchy remarks from aesthetes such as Christopher Knight, who quips of a Kincaid home radiating so intensely it appears to be on fire. "That cottage is where the Wicked Witch lives. I'm not going in there,"